YouTubes, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be. Today's job will be on the Scrambler. Let me just rotate it. I have learned that when I rotate the camera around, there's a pause in the audio. So I'll pause, rotate it around, and hopefully that's worked. Scrambler, I'll zoom that back out a little bit. 400 Scrambler X. Today's job is going to be to fit a rear rack onto it, because I have an old Givi top box with the mounting plate. It's exactly the same as the Triumph one, except there's Givi written on the top. That was like chrome, the trim on the back, so I've taken it off to paint that matte black, and I might see if I can find a Triumph sticker for it, one of the new triangular ones, to put that on, just to make it look a bit more Triumph-like. I have a tripod, box of bits I've yet to open, so I'm going to open those up. I'll put the camera up, I'll do an unboxing like a load of twats do on YouTube. This was ordered, today is Tuesday. I ordered this Sunday night after I came home. It was quite late Sunday night. Tuesday it's arrived. That's from Lind Triumph. I went online looking for one, they came up first and they gave me a 10% discount. So Lind Triumph, yeah, you can't complain about that. Ordered Tuesday, ordered Sunday, arrived Tuesday. Let me get the camera set up and we'll unbox that and we'll have a look at what we got. I'm back. You did miss, I did film it, the unboxing video. There's the boxes, unboxed. There's a receipt, Lind Triumph, trading as Triumph West London, with a free packet of Haribo. Ooh. However, I literally chopped myself off in half, probably about there for most of the video. Not necessarily a bad thing, but if I'm going to try and make a film, I might as well just redo it. So I'm not going to fake it and put it all back in the box. It is what it is. In the box we have fixing bolts that come with Loctite pre-applied to the threads of the bolts. We have a pair of side rails, and we have the top box mounting plate. Now I went for genuine Triumph. I did give the reasons just now, give them again, because occasionally my daughter jumps on the back of the bike with me, and if I've got a bike with a top box, she's got something to lean against just in case, and her safety is more than a few quid saved buying parts which I don't know the quality. They might be fantastic, they might not, but I don't know. I'm not taking the risk. So genuine Triumph. It wasn't expensive in the grand scheme of things. This is actually a pretty cheap kit, but then again, I suppose I'm used to Ducati prices. So what I'm going to do now is set the camera back up again, try not to chop myself in half, and we'll start bolting it on the bike. I'm going to Google the torque settings, because there will be torque settings for the fixing bolts at the side and for the bolts to bolt the top assembly to the arms. So I want to make sure I get those right. The side one's more important than the top ones, because these are bolts. I've taught enough spanners to know what you need to torque and what you can get away with by experience. But I suppose if I'm doing this for someone to learn by, I should do it the proper way, shouldn't I? Yeah, right. We'll Google it. Right then, let's crack on. Right, welcome back. Yeah, I've got my specs on. Old man, otherwise I can't see. Tools you will need. You need a 10mm socket. You could use a spanner, but it will take longer. A 5mm Allen key T-bar. You could use it with a socket if you've got a spanner, whatever you want to use. A T40 with a breaker bar. And then you don't need it, but I'm going to use a Milwaukee buzz gun just to save me some time getting these out, because they've got Loctite on from the factory, and that can sometimes be a bit of a bugger. So all I'm going to do first of all is locate the T40 in properly, and then just crack these off, because I understand they can be quite tight. Now they are not too bad, I've got to be honest with you. but there's no point messing around. Yeah, they're not too bad. So let's buzz these out. Just support the rail while we drop the last one out, and then that can come off. It's probably easier, thinking about it, if we take the rear seat off. So let's do that now. I could just sit there, take the key out, because this key, when I got the bike, had a bend in it, and I think it was left in there and someone walked past it, which is why it was a bit stiff in the ignition. So off of the rails, back up again. As I say, these do have Loctite in to start with, and they are very long. Yeah, very long. So I'm just going to wind these in until the Loctite starts to bite, because at that point you're probably not going to be able to rotate it by hand, because they're going to start to grip on the Loctite. But these look good. I like these because they've got the handles in the side, and as I say, because they are genuine Triumph, they should be reliable. So I'm just going to spin these in with the gun. Not too far, just enough to restrict the movement just slightly, because we want to get a bit of movement in for when we get the rest of the rack on. So let's drop that one back out. Okay. Next thing we need is a top rack. Sound like a MotoGP rider. Top rack. Now, because I've got the Givi plate, which I have put, where have I put it? I'll put it up here. This uses a set of bolts to fasten to whatever you're gonna fit it to. If you can see me, I don't like doing this. These 4 fixing bolts utilise the spaces where the 4 fixing bolts are on this rack. So what I'm going to do now is I might have tightened these up too much when I took it apart. Let's just drop the nuts and bolts out, and then we can line that up. I'll tell you what, let's pause this, because you don't want to see me undoing these. It's a bit dull already, isn't it? Bear with me. So all I've done is I've taken the bolts out so I can fit the rack assembly on, and obviously that locates into place. Where it locates in is actually perfect for 4 of the bolts. Now these have if the camera will focus, obviously you've got the nut and bolt, and then you've got a square washer, and the square washer locates into the squares in there. There's not a lot of adjustment, as in shifting it forward and aft, because these 2 bolt holes there are the first 2 that you're really going to be able to locate this into. So drop a washer in. That's not sitting square. I'm not happy with that. That's better. Yeah, these should drop in nice and square, and that one wasn't. So it's always worth just taking it back out again and having a look. Get it lined up. And then we'll just pop a nut on the bottom. we'll do that for all four. What I'm doing is, because these are slotted for adjustment, I'm actually moving all four of them into a different position, which should help this locate into place and not move about too much. But yeah, it's nice and easy fit. Okay, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to nip these side plates up and not torque them, just nip them up tight to the bike. Then I'm going to tighten up the fixing bolts and then torque everything up. I do apologise if you can hear my neighbour with his chainsaw. I should have mentioned to him I was trying to make a YouTube video, shouldn't I? So let's just get these nipped up. We've still got a nice bit of movement on that. And then obviously I'm going to nip up all four of these, and then I'll come back to torquing it up. What I'm going to do, quick note, is obviously once this is bolted down, I'm going to make sure that there's enough thread protruding out of the other end of the locking nut so it is actually locking itself in place. That is quite important. So let's get that done. Thanks to my neighbour. What a time to do it. Bear with me, and then we'll get this nipped up properly. Right, racks assembled. These are nipped up. They're nipped up on the back there. So basically you just need to torque them up now. The rear fixings are 11 Newton meters, and the side fixings for the grab handles are 20 Newton meters. Now I've got obviously various torque wrenches, with the idea being that you want to really be somewhere in the middle of the torque settings. Obviously that's going to do the 20, that's going to do the 11. So I'll get those nipped up and we'll come straight back. So that's the side fixings torqued up and the fixings for the rack torqued up. Now we've got a top plate, which is just a plate to dress the rack assembly, I guess, the bracket. This has Givi on, the Triumph one has Triumph on. I can live with that. So that literally just pops into place there, and then you've got a couple of small fixing screws just to locate it. Now these were very small, and the only screwdriver I had which really went in there properly was a JIS one, which is Japanese Industrial Standard, which I normally use for getting carbs apart because they're the things that fit really well. So there we go. Let's clip the back seat back on. I'll tell you, back seat, top tip, this seat was an absolute pig to clip down, to the point where I couldn't get it clipped down, wouldn't clip at all. On the back of here, if you can see on that, the pin, there was a rubber washer around that pin. Now I've removed that and it clips down. It now sits on these four rubbers, so it springs down, but it clips into place. So if yours won't locate properly and you have to literally stand on it, take that rubber washer off, because you've got four that still support it. So let's locate that in, click it in place, and there we go. Jobs are good. I'm going to go grab the top box, sit the top box on, and then we'll take a look and see how it looks as a whole thing. I mean, it looks like an old man's bike because it's got a top box on, but yeah, I'm happy with that. Right, let's have a look. It's a crime against fashion, we all know that, but they serve a purpose. And it does mean that I can chuck stuff on the back, tents, whatever. But the main purpose is to fit the top box, the Givi monarchy top box, which uses the two tags there, if you can see them, locate into 2 tags on the bike, and then it just locates with a clip on the back. So let's pop it in place, click it down, and that's it, it's on. Obviously, because this is an old one, I use this on, I can't remember, I think my Ducati, did I have it on my Scrambler when I went to Morocco? I can't remember, but this box was free. It's been in my loft space for a few years, so it cost me nothing. So the fact that I'm gonna have to carry a separate key isn't the end of the world for me. If you've got a monarchy top box and base plate kicking around, or if you can find one cheap on eBay, fit it. It's the Triumph system with a different badge on it. The rear plate, as I say, I'm painting that. That'll get painted and get a Triumph sticker on it so it looks a little bit tidier. But other than that, it is the Triumph box. I say the Triumph box is the Givi box. I have got a spare key barrel which came with the bike for the sole purpose of rekeying a top box if you fit one, so you have one key for the whole bike, a bit like BMW do. But I think these keys are a lot shorter, and looking at that barrel, it looks a lot smaller. So I do think there is a modification that Triumph make to allow you to do that, which I haven't got. But hey, it's not the end of the world. I can live with that. Any comments, chuck them in below. I will be doing more videos on this bike because I love it. I'm taking it to the Adventure Bike Festival in a few weeks with my luggage on. I was going to put some pannier rails on, but you know, I think these new grab handles that come might actually do the job of keeping the luggage away from the wheel and anything that it shouldn't, like the exhaust and what have you. So I'm going to load my luggage up and chuck it on and see what happens. But yeah, if you want to watch some more stuff, an old man twirling spanners badly, videoing even worse, hit the subscribe button, chuck in a like, which I'd appreciate, and we'll see where we go with this. If you've enjoyed this video, I appreciate it. Thanks very much. And like and subscribe and all the usual YouTube thing that people are supposed to say at the end of it. And let's see what happens with this one. If you're riding, stay safe. If you're not riding, span your bike, clean your bike, sit and look at your bike, or watch crap videos on YouTube. And I'll see you all soon. Take care.